அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். மற்றொரு நிகழ்ச்சியின் வாயிலாக உங்கள் அனைவரையும் சந்திப்பதில் மகிழ்ச்சி. இன்று ஒரு முக்கியமான விடயம் தொடர்பாக நாங்கள் பேசிக்கொள்ளவிருக்கிறோம். கனடாவிலே பிரம்டன் நகரத்தில் கடந்த சில தினங்களுக்கு முன்னர் தமிழின படுகொலை நினைவகம் அல்லது நினைவு தூபி அமைக்கப்பட்டதை நாங்கள் அனைவரும் அறிந்திருக்கிறோம். கடந்த மே மாதம் 10ஆம் தேதி இந்த நினைவு தூபி அமைக்கப்பட்டு மக்கள் பார்வைக்கு திறந்து வைக்கப்பட்டது. இது உலக அளவில் தமிழர்களுக்கான நீதி வேண்டிய பயணத்திலே ஒரு அடையாள சின்னமாக, பரப்புரை சின்னமாக அமைந்துள்ளதை நாங்கள் அவதானித்திருக்கிறோம். உலக தமிழர்களை கடந்து உலகம் முழுவதும் இந்த தமிழின படுகொலை நினைவு தூவி அமைக்கப்பட்ட விவகாரம் என்பது முக்கியத்துவம் வாய்ந்ததை பிரதிபலித்தது. இந்த நிலையில் அதே போன்ற ஒரு நினைவு தூவி அல்லது நினைவகம் ஒன்றை டொரண்டோவிலே, கனடாவில் பெருமளவு மக்கள் வசிக்கக்கூடிய நகரமாக இருக்கக்கூடிய, அதே நேரத்தில் தமிழர்களும் அதிக எண்ணிக்கையில் வசிக்கக்கூடிய டொரண்டோ நகரத்தில் அமைப்பதற்கான முன்னேற்பாடுகள் இடம்பெற்றுக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றன. முன்னேற்பாடுகள் என்பதை கடந்து இது ஒரு மற்றொரு சாதனைக்கல்லாக, மைல்கல்லாக அமைந்துள்ளது என்பதையும் நாங்கள் இந்த நேரத்திலே சுட்டிக்காட்ட வேண்டும். டொரண்டோ நகரசபையினுடைய உறுப்பினர் பார்த்தி கந்தவில் அவர்கள் முன்னெடுத்த முயற்சியின் பயனாக டொரண்டோவிலே தமிழின படுகொலை நினைவு தூபி ஒன்றை அமைப்பதற்கான இந்த முயற்சியை மேற்கொள்வதற்கான அனுமதி கிடைத்திருக்கிறது. ஏகமனதாக இதற்கான அனுமதியை டொரண்டோ சிட்டி கவுன்சில், டொரண்டோ நகரசபை வழங்கியுள்ளதை நாங்கள் அறிந்திருக்கிறோம். இந்த விடயம் சார்ந்து இன்றைய நிகழ்ச்சியிலே பேசிக்கொள்வதற்காக டொரண்டோ நகரசபை உறுப்பினர் பார்த்தி கந்தவேல் அவர்கள் இன்றைய நிகழ்ச்சியில் இணைந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறார். வணக்கம் பார்த்தி கந்தவேல்.
வணக்கம் உதயன் அண்ணா. Thank you for having me on.
வணக்கம். I know you can speak freely in English, so you feel free to communicate in your comfortable language. So how did this happen? You know, all of a sudden we had a monument unveiling few days back, and suddenly we hear another milestone achievement by your motion. How did you make it happen?
First of all, I think our community collectively sincerely thank Mayor Patrick Brown for making the Brampton Monument possible. Without his leadership and his full heart support for that project, it wouldn't have happened. But we look at the origins of the Brampton Tamil Genocide Monument. It goes back to the callous, the way in which the Sri Lankan government destroyed the memorial set up by the Jaffna University students in 2021, which was built in 2019 at the 10-year anniversary of the end of the war and the culmination of the Tamil Genocide. And that's important to remember. The Tamil University students, the youth in Tamilulam and in Jaffna have always led our movement, since going back to the time of independence. So that's an important issue, incident that happened to start this. It was in memory of that destruction. Patrick Brown made that commitment, and very grateful. And what he has done has given us in Toronto the ability to bring this forward. I think the reality is, as a mayor of Brampton, but as a white person, as a Canadian of multiple generations, that gave him the ability, and we appreciate his leadership to create it. And when I brought the motion in politics and in life in general, timing is everything. So being able to bring the motion during this time, it was coincided with the third week of May being Tamil Genocide Education Week, of course May 18th, and with the successful launch of the Tamil Genocide Monument in Brampton, it allowed me the capacity to get the support from my colleagues and the mayor, Olivia Chow, to pass this motion.
So in terms of going forward, what are the next steps? What are the stages that we need to pass through?
So I think one thing, everyone is excited and curious about the next steps, but we have to remember it took 4 years for Brampton, with all the support and all the organization, to bring it to realization. That's not uncommon for many communities in the city of Toronto. And especially in the city of Toronto, there is always the bureaucracy that is involved because we're dealing with city land. And my motion is to begin the conversation, to form the committee, which will include the city's economic and development culture division, the city's park division, my own offices, and those within the community who have experience building monuments to come together and start that conversation of where in Scarborough does it make sense. And I think the obvious place to start is in neighborhoods with a great number of Tamil population.
Is there any timeline projected to finish the project?
Good question. I think that will be one of the first conversations in the committee meeting is what are the timelines for at least arriving on a recommendation. So in my motion, you'll see there's clear direction to come back in quarter Q4. So that is October, November, December of 2025 with the first report to the Scarborough Community Council. And that report will, I would imagine, it'll be the committee's decision to at least come with a recommendation of this is the site. Once we have the site, and I think simultaneously we can also have conversations about the fundraising. As we did in Brampton, there was many community contributions to make the building feasible and possible. So that will be another important conversation and decision by the committee is how will it be funded. The city will provide some, but I know our community has done very well. There's a lot of successful business people, and we expect we shouldn't have problems fundraising because this is a monument close to our hearts. When I think about why I did this, my mother told me, you're not going to be able to go to Sri Lanka anymore, right? And I thought about my children. We had a baby boy 6 months ago. Thought about my daughter 3.5 years. And this is not just for them, but all of our children, our community's next generation, for them to have this monument and realize how much it means to us. They weren't there in 2009. The rest of our community, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations, 100 years from now, will not remember 2009. I think all of us have 2009 deep in our hearts, and we haven't let it go. And that passion, that fervor, that fire needs to be made in a form that is physical, that our grandchildren, our nephews, nieces can go and see and appreciate what the extent of the Tamil genocide. We lost more than 10% of our population from pre to the war. That's how many people were intentionally killed by the state. And we can't forget that. 1/3 of our community was displaced across Europe, North America, all over the world, and 1/3 displaced within the island. So these are important realities that the monument will keep remembering for future generations. If you look at, certain communities, like I know in the Jewish community, the anti-Semitism and how they respond to it has been part of their identity, right? And we have Tamil youth organizations and CTYA had a campaign 2 years ago, very successful social media campaign that said, genocide is part of my identity. And that is something we need to show, not just talk about, but show. And that's what we've done as a community. And credit goes to NCCT and Mayor Patrick Brown for creating that. And Scarborough is home to the largest Ula Tamil diaspora in the world. And it's only fitting we have a monument. I know there are some people who are critical.
Yeah, having said that, passing the motion unanimously with the support of all the councillors, it doesn't mean that you have the green light. We have the experience in Brampton, how the Sri Lankan state tried to intervene and block the construction of the monument. So are you ready to face those challenges?
Yes. I think, we are inspired by our Mavira, our thing. We have all the comfort of safety here. We have the strength of a community that has done well. We have the ability to hire lawyers. We were successful in their attempts with Tamil Genocide Education Week. We have good lawyers at the City of Toronto. When I was on the Toronto District School Board, and we recognized Tamil Genocide Education Week with a tweet, the government and the High Commissioner, Consul General, threatened legal action. So we know the typical moves they make, and we know the extent of their success. The evidence is clear. There's not much success, but we're prepared to handle that both from a legal framework, but also from a community perspective. But there will be challenges, no doubt.
I understand. Before moving forward, we heard the news last night. There was vandalism at the Brampton Tamil Genocide Monument site. What is your thought on that?
That was my thought on the day of the unveiling. I think, we all anticipated it. We'll see when the facts come out to the extent. But it's something we have to contend with. There are, a few years ago, there are many places of worship, mosques, synagogues, that were faced with racist graffiti and some vandalism. And we had the government of Canada at that time step up and provide funding for security and video camera footage. So these are ways that we should rely on our governments to provide support. They did it for places of worship. And in my opinion, the monument was built in such a beautiful way. It reminded me of a koil. It was like a temple, when you think of Madurai Meenakshi and the pillars, the 1,000 pillars, it gave me that feeling, the way it was constructed. So I expect our governments to support our community as they have with other communities and provide this. So this is a question before the Minister of Public Safety to do as governments before have done and supported communities through investments in security, physical security, security guards, as well as installation of video cameras.
In the meantime, we have a surprise milestone victory in terms of passing the motion unanimously at the Toronto Council. People have the question, Toronto has more population in the entire Canada when you compare the city-wise population, and more numbers of councillors. How did you get the support from non-Tamils for this motion?
Good question. I think part of being an effective councillor is having positive relations with as many councillors as possible. That was an important objective that I tried to create, not just now, but when I started as a city councillor in January 2024, is building those relationships. And I have to give credit to Mayor Olivia Chow. And as we know, as a community, her late husband, Jack Layton, was very supportive of the Tamil community, especially in 2009, when no party was willing to receive us. When we were there, 30,000 in Ottawa during January to May 2009. So I think that relationship also played a factor, and I'm grateful. But ultimately, I think people across City of Toronto, the other councillors, they recognize the contributions the Tamil community has made to the City of Toronto, whether it's in our restaurants, in our professional job environment, as neighbors. I think we have developed a relationship and a reputation far from what it was 25 years ago. People see our community as a positive community that contributes in so many ways. And they saw that with Yalini, my wife Anu Sri Skandaraja on the school board, myself, and now they see it in the city council. So that plays a role in how our community is perceived and the respect we get. After the unveiling of Brampton Tamil Genocide Monument, it sent shock waves to the Sri Lankan state. And immediately after that, we heard a warning from the Foreign Minister, Vijitha Hirath, warning the Tamil community and telling them that if anybody brands Sri Lankan state's atrocity as
Tamil genocide, they will be faced with legal actions. What is your message to them?
I think he's unaware of the Canadian legal system and the attempts they have made challenging Tamil Genocide Education Week have failed very clearly. There have been attempts at the federal, provincial, even at the school board level to deny our freedom of expression, our right to acknowledge.
But I understand that he was warning the Sri Lankan people, whoever speaks, and referring Tamil genocide, and they will be faced with the legal actions.
Last fall, some, including my mother, had false hope. They were naive to think the new government would change course. There was at some point some hope there would be a change in the culture of the government. Sadly, we haven't seen that. Just yesterday, we saw Tamil fishermen get assaulted physically by the armed forces. The culture, unfortunately, hasn't changed. And I think if the foreign minister and the government of Sri Lanka are interested in improving the reputation of the country and actually changing the living conditions, the rights, and the truth and justice that are necessary to move their country forward, they need to come to terms with what has transpired, that for a country to move forward, they're not just truth. You need justice as well for true reconciliation. And I hope that they recognize and realize that, because as a diaspora, we're not going away. I think our generation and future generations, we see the young people that are coming up who are learning, who are being educated about our history. Their commitment is even stronger than previous generations.
Apart from the opposition from the Sri Lankan state and its supporters, we have already started to hear some grumbling noises among a few community members saying that we already have a Tamil genocide monument in Brampton. Why do we need another one in Toronto? What is your answer?
As I shared earlier, we have the largest Ila Tamil diaspora here in Scarborough. And I think what's unique, Brampton is big, but we are also more concentrated, certainly in northeast Scarborough. I think, the beauty of a monument is it provides not just recognition, but it's a place for healing. There are thousands, really countless of us in our community that have PTSD and other forms of trauma that have not been acutely even diagnosed or addressed. A monument can serve as a genuine place for those who have been deeply impacted by the war, by their loved ones, in different forms, to go seek solace, find peace, and some level of healing. So I think it's important, like other communities who have multiple sites of recognition, that the reality is Scarborough residents may not be going to Brampton that often, if at all. So we are a growing community. We have different ways to acknowledge and recognize the genocide. This is another way to grow our presence, because our children and their children will be living and in this country and living their lives, and identity, Ariyalam, is so important as we pass it on to the next generation. And this is a form in which we do it. And I'm really sad, disappointed to hear if that criticism is coming from our own people, then I would say we need to think bigger and have higher expectations for us as a community. We're very talented. We need the right leadership.
When we compare the history with 2009 and prior to 2009, we were failing on advocacy. Nobody heard our voices. We were kneeling down in front of Canadian Parliament in Ottawa, and children, youth were crying out for justice. Nobody heard it. Only few people like Jack Layton, Patrick Brown, all these people came out and supported the Tamil community. But we now totally see a total shift in the approach.
Yes.
Many politicians are freely coming to the events and openly saying that genocide happened and they will support for justice for genocide. So after opening or after unveiling Brampton Monument and after the motion for another monument in Toronto, what do you envision down the path?
I think, you raise a very good point. We also had the passage of Tamil Genocide Education Week, which has enabled, when I was on the school board, the ability and what has continued to recognize this in our school system, which is the greatest way to pass knowledge and to the next generation. Many high schools in Scarborough not only had Tamil genocide education assemblies, but it wasn't just for the Tamil students, it was for all students. So that is a tremendous place where we have grown as a community. We have created awareness. The recognition now is in how we advocate at the federal level. I think there's many changes. There was disappointment with how Canada has failed to take a leadership role in advocating for Tamil rights and justice in the international scale. Prime Minister Carney's message on Tamil Genocide Remembrance Day said they would support international efforts at war crimes investigations and human rights. But we need Canada to take a leadership role. And it is, the reality last year, the Canadian government took action on Indian diplomats for allegations of certain allegations. And that's a country that has tremendous geopolitical influence, 1.4 billion people. We do billions of dollars of trade with one of the leading powers of the world. And we took a decision that some have argued harms our relationship with a important big country and a big player in the geopolitical world. But yet we haven't taken action on Sri Lankan diplomats. And that to me is for a country that is a fraction, not even a fraction, incredibly small relative to a big country like India. So I think there's a desire from the Tamil community to see real leadership, true leadership from the government of Canada on the file of Sri Lanka and advocating for the Tamil rights on the international level.
So we have a motion that is a green light and it's a milestone achievement. And next we have different stages of progresses. So how could the Tamil community support and get involved with this one?
Good question, Uthayan. I think I've put it on my social media. If you want to play a role, get involved, send an email to Councillor_Kandavel@toronto.ca. But I think creating awareness, sharing the news with relatives, family, especially abroad. I hope to see other municipalities across the world where we have large Tamil diasporas take the steps to work with their local mayor, councillors to create this. We're, as part of the process, we want to hear suggestions from the community. Which park should we consider? Which area? Which neighborhood? So viewers, listeners, please share your thoughts with my office. And we're going to, in the coming weeks, as we develop the committee and start to meet, I'll be able to share more news with the media of what the timeline is looking at and what are the next steps. So I think we should be proud that we have a position at the table, that we're setting the agenda that is for our community. So please share the news. And I think this gives hope to many that we are becoming stronger as a community. We need to of course, work together, but also hold each other accountable, right? And that's the challenge before us as a community. We have tremendous potential and talent. we need to organize it and channel it in the right direction.
Thank you, Parthi, Kandavel, for your time and coming to the studio and giving this interview. We had a little bit of understanding on the project. Anyhow, again, our respectful regards on your achievement and looking forward to talk to you in the future. Thank you.
Nandri, vanakkam.
Vanakkam.